It's actually a testimony of how a very simple thing, by using just a thumb drive over to a printer, I'm able to do actually what somebody would have never imagined. If you haven't had a cybersecurity breach in your organization, either you're really, really very well prepared, or you are very, very lucky, or you are not really aware. Whether it is medical records, whether it is crime records, whether it is land records, whether it is actually birth certificates. Somewhere, somebody is seeing it as a next meal ticket. And believe me, cyber criminals are not fussy about who they are stealing from. So, who knows who is the next victim? Therefore, security is everybody's responsibility, not only the IT and IT security. With this, the message, what I have started with actually putting up on my slide, is that, are you gambling with your future? If you are not feeling this responsibility, it means that we are actually heading towards something, an unknown terrain. It's a great thing to know that Mr. Singh really replicated, and Sir also mentioned that India and Telangana is moving consistently towards the digital India, which I'm also very proud of, because we are really breaking the records at the magnitude, at the scale, and the speed which we're actually digitalizing, which is really great. At the same time, the technology is also growing with this Internet of Things. People and devices, they are really connected everywhere. You can see that we are connected mostly with the mobile devices to anything which we really wanted to use. It's a connected world, it's a connected intelligence, it's a connected devices. And the best part is that whether you are in office or in vacation, you can access it from anywhere. You can actually be as I said, at the office, whether it is going to be inside a premise or you are on the road. You are really able to access the information from anywhere. That's the power of the connected world. But then, it comes with a heightened security risk exposure equally. Okay? And the risk is real. You can see that only last year, till June 2017, the CERT in India reported 27,000 data breaches, which was costing $4 billion. And recently, in the Interpol World Conference in Singapore, it was very well, it was indicated that India is vulnerable to the cyber attack because of the huge spur in their rapid migration to the digital services, which is something we really have to be aware about because, as I said, it's all connected world. What are the top cyber threats? It's the terminology of the cyber world, which I just want to put up into simple language. Cyber espionage is what? I'm getting an unauthorized access of your confidential data. Okay? Second is that ransomware. I'm targeting your computers, your mobiles, your maybe bank accounts to lock and blackmail for the ransom. Okay? That is all about the malware which can do it, which we know a lot of stories around nowadays are happening. Phishing is all about, I'm able to send out just like this one, which was because of the connected world, because of the communication channels like email, I'm able to send up a document like a PDF in Word, which is actually having just a malware code, which none of the current technology is able to detect because it has got some special non-operating system protocol, which we're going to talk about. So this is going to help to make sure somebody is phishing the malware inside. Pretexting. I'm a government officer, I'm a bank officer, can you please give me your credit card details, your account number? I'm pretexting that I am somebody else, I'm not. And that's how it is becoming more and more common to get the information revealed, one of the cybersecurity new ways to breach. I'm going to refer somewhere here about a very interesting jackpotting method, we call it in the cyber world. It's about surveilling the servers across one of the bank, which was not the headquartered, and then monitoring the traffic covertly to identify basically their network hops, okay? And then it is able to understand that where I have to drive my malware to. With that, it actually put up the malware inside that email and it was sent. Somebody clicked that knowing it's just an email only. It was an attachment with a malware which has a target with its base actually at the IVR. So basically, it's a voice recording system, okay? And there, they found it's a system which is mostly unscanned regularly. So they dropped itself there in that particular voice recording system. And then they were able to start moving and traversing inside their network traffic by reaching to their headquartered internet, the server, which was actually being surveilled for some while to find what is the admin password. When the admin password was received, communicated back to the hacker, and then he was able to send out that malware which is already inside to load it to the actually ATM update server, which was used to do the patching of all the ATM machines, okay? And then via the distributed mechanism by bypassing the firewall, 41 machines ATM were targeted, 22 of them were infected, and $1.7 million were stolen from there. And then after this activity was done, okay, the whole malware which was loading on ATM was deleted. So there was no track and trace also. If it is something to do with the servers inside the data center, how about neglected devices like printers, which can also be actually become an entry point, right? They themselves are actually servers wherein what happens to be, I can actually send out malware, which still printer works as a printer, but it actually, whatever the print job is, you are submitting the print job, I'm opening a FTP connection because there is no hardened admin server, admin passwords there, because there is no regular assessment there. I'm very well actually putting the malware inside the printer. Whatever print job's coming to me, I'm actually broadcasting it outside. Okay? There are many ways to do that inside with FTP protocol, HTTP protocols. We have got telnets. We have got many ways to communicate. We have also cyber attacks happening, stories with the BIOS in control. Printer also has got BIOS. Your computers actually has got BIOS, but you have got their self-healing protection mechanism, which makes sure that the golden copy of BIOS is loaded if there is an attack. But how about the printers? They're also on the network citizen. Breaches also recently happened when we have heard about the memory intrusion techniques, wherein the fileless malware, okay, was loaded into the memory of the printer, just like if the story was about the President Donald Trump's election, where the Russian cyber spy was actually being talked a lot about, that they have influenced this all. It was all about the fileless malware, where it is not copied onto the hard disk, so it cannot be scanned. The whole story around this is that printer also has got the similar kind of capability. It's a neglected endpoint device. People not really focusing on that, which is actually a huge risk. I can very easily move and traverse by having an admin password which is not hardened, and then start getting low-level queries to your Active Directory to get a valid credential. It is actually having the same amount of resources, okay? Like it has got a hard disk, it has got a firmware, a software. It also has got internet connectivity or network connectivity. It has got an email capability. You can do scan to email from a printer just like a PC. It's an equal network citizen. What we actually trying to focus here today is that when we see our cybersecurity policy, we actually have to think from 3D perspective. What are our 3Ds? They are the device, the data, and the document. Right? When we talk about the device, data, and the document, it means that we are talking about if the controls of the devices are not hardened with the policy, right? We are looking forward to make sure that somebody is going to do a identity spoofing. I can log into a multifunction, scan something, or put up something and send an email with somebody else's email ID. I can do a hard disk if it's not encrypted, then heading towards somebody is able to use the information. Similarly, when we're talking about the document, if whatever you are printing, can a paper tell you who printed me? Can you track it and trace it back? Information are actually heavily getting also breached from the paper. Sorry. What HP actually has been proactive about is that we understood this actually the landscape of the threat. And we come up with the security advisory services for the government and for the enterprises to work with the cybersecurity teams to understand how we can define a print security policy so that your endpoints are more protected than before. The example which you have seen just now on the video was able to do because there was no fixer. There was no fixer to fix that. What is that? The self-healing BIOS protection was not available so that we can detect that somebody wrong is actually being loaded to the system. There was no antivirus, anti-malware on the printer which detects that software which was loaded was unauthorized. We put up whitelisting to make sure it is taken care of. Third thing is that memory intrusion. In the memory, there are a lot of activities happening. How you will identify this is an anomaly which I have to start focusing on, put the spotlight on. If you don't know what to focus, you will neglect everything, right? That's where the baseline security HP created by identifying if it is an anomaly, then it is able to report to your security operations center with a SIEM tool integration about the syslogs, which can very well tell you that the attacker is getting originated from where, so that the fraud detection can immediately can be acted upon. Apart from the self-healing capability to restart the machine, to disconnect the attack, and also report at the same time where the attack was originated. This all is to make sure that we are very well able to take care of the device security part. Now the next comes is basically that we have got cybersecurity policies very, very strong on all our pets. When I say pets, it's the servers, it's the data centers, it's the PCs, laptops, there are pets. We are very, very actually, focused about that. We take care of that with the right of the policy immediately implemented. But how about the cattles? How about the printers which are out in open in your offices? They are also network citizens. You need to define a risk assessment for that and make sure that there is a policy being defined for that. HP came out with the first industry security policy manager for print devices. You can load a policy to make sure it assesses all the devices, print device in your environment, enforces the print policy to them, and periodically remediates also automatically as if somebody has got an admin password and it changes the settings, enables FTP protocol or USB to copy something, immediately remediates back and reports back. The another best part is that for the PCs, if they hook onto the network, first of all, you get your GP policy loaded before it is booted up, correct? If the new device is connected to your network. But same for the printer, we have come up with that moment it is jacked out, the device from the network, or a factory reset happened, or an engineer came on the premise and do the formatter board change. Whatever policy setting you would have done is gone. It is out in open, thousands of printers in the network across your states and cities and the tier 3 locations, right? How you will be sitting at the central location will be able to understand somebody is doing maintenance and the policy is not onboarded. So this particular solution is making sure is that the moment you hook on the network to the network, first the policy onboarded, then the printer boots up, right? This is actually the power of this, and we also help you to do a digital certificate encryption automatically, otherwise which takes a lot of manual effort. As per your audit standards and regulations and the compliance, we can get a regular reporting mechanism with a dashboard, with the drilling down that, okay, which are the devices which are not under policy, which I need to really analyze immediately. We give you regular dash reports for that, okay? Let's move to the data. The data which is flowing onto the wire or at the rest in the disk, right, originates from a PC. But when PC submits a print job, that converts into a print job language. And print job language, to mind it, cannot be sniffed by any of the DLP programs or the antivirus programs, because the print job language is proprietary to the OEMs of the printers. It means that whatever the content which your data which you were protecting when it was in server and when it was a PC, the moment it goes to the printer, it is left to the risk exposure. If somebody really wants to hooks on to the print job by a simple PCL viewer, he's able to see your print jobs and he's able to interpret it, intercept it, change it, and submit it without your knowledge. And if that print job is really, really confidential, it has to be protected equally the way you did it when the content was digital. And that's where the data becomes also important. So HP promotes the encryption at all the levels, right from the print job submission to the servers, to the printer. It got decrypted so that it prints. So it is very well protected till it comes out as a paper. And we also, of course, provide the authentication mechanism, so make sure that identity is very well identified at the printer before actually the printout comes out, okay? Another important thing, as I said, is about the DLP. I'm sure organizations would have a data loss prevention softwares to make sure that your content which is confidential, content which is classified as a classified document, should only the authorized person is allowed to really access it and view it, correct? But then, how about if actually goes to the print? In the last year, there were somewhere around 18,000 classified documents were actually taken by a board member by a printing that out and then taking it out from the organization. Because the moment you are separated, okay, you have got your access to the laptops are gone, right? But then he was making sure that he's printing it and taking the content out, and that took some millions of rupees of breach which was done. So data loss prevention from print which HP comes with, the same DLP policies can be loaded onto the print server, so it makes sure what is being printed is actually classified and can be stopped. The most important part is that it can stop the print to go to the printer, and alarm is sent to the IT security. Okay? This is something, one of the key thing to make sure that we are enabling your print jobs also with the security. Now multifunction nowadays can do copy also, and can do scan to email also, scan to folder also. So we are equally concerned about the content which is being scanned and sent. We can sniff that content and can stop it from sending it out if it is again a classified one. Let's move to the document part of the story. We are actually very well, aware about that. The paper which we used for some of the very, very important document like land records, for example, has to be security paper, right? We make sure that all the security papers are there, somebody is not able to duplicate the same kind of paper, and then we are able to feel protected. But are we concerned about the paper or the content which you are going to print on that paper? Because content which is going to be print on paper will have the name of the landowner, maybe his photograph, maybe his identification number, maybe his Aadhaar number, which is actually the key for you to, that's a content which needs to be protected. Now when we think so, then the next thing comes in mind is that if you're not protecting content, it is very easy for me to use a nail remover and again remove it what you printed, and I can actually put it back again what I want. I can change the name of the landowner immediately and use it for, let's say, some credit to the bank. How a bank gets to know this is actually false? Because you use security paper, everybody believes this is the original document, but actually it was not, because it was already being counterfeited, or it was actually done in fraud. The important part is that to protect the content, and that's where HP comes up to put up multi-layer content protection while printing. For example, we do anti-copy prevention. It means that we put up, if somebody photocopies that, we have got excellent technologies to have create a better than original color copy document, right? But who knows if it's original or not? So we created once, you can put up a technology to make sure it's anti-copy. It will create a watermark of copy automatically. It can have actually dynamic data capture. You may have static data capture, but we are talking about dynamically at the runtime, we can put the data capture and put up in a different ink mechanism so that it is invisible like a currency notes. Variable text is very important. You may have got, on the first page, you put up that this is the Aadhaar number, this is basically the tracking number, but how about subsequent pages? Okay, so we do this all, print to trace mechanisms, the copy protection, these are the features which we take care. These are invisible inks that it is used like in currency notes. We put up this all invisible ways of protecting multi-layer which cannot be copied and very well identified under a UV ink light. So what I want to conclude here is that don't neglect any of the endpoint devices like printers. They are sleeping devices as per the norm, but they are very, very vulnerable with the new age risk which is coming up. We are coming up with all this device data and document security to make sure that your environment remains protected. Thank you very much.